Hi, I'm Zaylin. With me today, I've got Professor Warlock. How you doing?
Hi, I'm doing well. How you doing today, Zaylin?
Not too bad. So, Professor Warlock, we've got a big announcement for folks. We're going to interview you today because he is coming on as an official team member streamer with Smart Gamer Network. Awesome! So
It's all nice. It's official.
it's finally official. I'm super excited about it. So today we're here to kind of get to know you. Everybody is got lots of questions. When you were first coming on, they asked me a lot of stuff, and usually my response was, "Go ask him. Go talk to him." So
Go play. Go. Sounds like a parent with kids.
go
talk to the
play
nice
outside.
man.
Go play outside.
The exact opposite of what we're trying to preach over here.
Well, I think there's a different. It's a different setting a lot these days with what is safe to play outside. Like when I was a kid, I could, we lived next to a giant field and I would go get lost for 4 or 5 hours as long as I was home for around dinner time or before dark. It wasn't a big deal.
Today, was it, man. Mom yelled dinner and that was, you went home.
Today you get outside and you get out of sight and your mom's just like, where do they go? So, it's kind of hard, but childhood, man. So your childhood, what was that like? What was this like for Professor Warlock?
Professor Warlock. So also known as Matt, for anyone who's curious. I use my first name all the time. Friends will call me that as well.
Wow, we're getting real names in here. Oh,
real names. I actually follow another streamer called Celiac Matt, and so our thing is that we're the true Matts, and Matts are the superior race. More on that later. But childhood, man, childhood was pretty lackluster. Like I had both parents. My younger brother's about 4 years younger than me.
Is he your only sibling?
No, actually. So I had an older half brother who passed away back in 2019. That's all right. And then I do have a younger half sister who is 11, still lives, at home with my mom. And she's a brat.
As all younger sisters are supposed to be.
Yeah. But I would go to jail for her, for sure. In fact, I had to come to terms with that. I had to internalize that, be like, if something happens and I got to do something and there's bodies buried in the yard, I guess I'm going to jail. Not to play the stereotypical older brother, but...
Just to be fair here, are you doing the burying or is she doing the burying and you're taking the fall?
No, either way. Either way. In
that's what family's for, right?
That's what family's for. Yeah, if they won't go to prison for you, why have family? So that's the group. So 3 siblings, 1 passed away. Mark and I, my younger brother, grew up very close, only being 4 years apart. In fact, I didn't have my own room until I moved out for the first time at 18.
Wow,
legit.
Was that difficult? Or
at times. At times it was difficult. At times it was nice because, typical kid. Youngest kid of the dark growing up. Grew up with some anxieties, so it was nice to have him in the immediate vicinity.
It's the same facility too. It's your house, right?
Yeah. So, we grew up together.
Did you guys have a lot of space to get into shenanigans, or was this like a tight room where it was like, okay, there's a bunk bed here and then like a mat on the floor or something?
We've had it all. Growing up so my parents divorced when I was 13. So we moved a little bit. We lived in my grandmother's basement at first until I was about 7, and we shared a small room, and then we got the house. When we moved out into that, we still had to share a fairly small room. It might have been maybe 10 by 15, maybe 12 by like 18 feet, if that gives you an idea.
So it's not terrible.
No. But we've had all kind of, you mentioned all the beds we've had bunk beds when we were young. We've had trundle beds. For those of you who have no idea what I'm talking about, it is a bed with what looks like drawers underneath, and you pull it out, and that's just another mattress.
My
So
daughter has one of those right now, actually.
really,
When
see,
it's
that is
when it's
a
pulled out,
throwback.
it takes up basically her entire room. But for her, it's
That's a
great,
big. Are they both twin size mattresses? That's
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah.
Wow.
She loves it. She can just
Wow.
roll around. So I can imagine for
Yeah.
a couple of brothers, that would just be
Oh
absolute
yeah.
crazy town.
That was fun. I always slept on the drawer, by the way, because Mark was the youngest, and Anyway,
Got to make things
we
good.
had that for a while until my parents divorced. Then we actually got a pretty sizable apartment in the city right outside where my dad lived. $700 for a 2-bedroom, by the way, which is insane in the city we grew up in.
Where were you growing up? What part of the country?
So I actually have it tattooed on me. I am from the Worcester, Massachusetts area.
Worcester,
so Central
Massachusetts. Let's see the tat.
Worcester, kid.
Worcester.
So a little hard to see, but it is in that
nice.
area code 508 and the state of Massachusetts.
It's the darn camera blur that just keeps blurring it out. I see you've got a lot of tats. Is that
I do have a lot.
Is it just sleeves? Do you do a lot more than just sleeves? Are you gonna be doing a lot more?
I do plan to do a lot more. Nothing really above the neckline, but I do have both arms fairly covered. There's a few more pieces I want to get before completing them and tying them all together. And I've got a couple leg pieces on my right leg. I do all. So I geek out at this. I have my fantasy side of my body and my reality side of my body.
Oh, interesting.
Well, so both have meaning to me, but everything on my right side is either video game related or like nerd related. Like I'm going to stretch for you guys. Ready? No feet though. There's just Magic the Gathering, Jace from Magic the Gathering, Arbiter from Halo, a Spider-Man Deadpool logo.
Okay.
And then over here is, everything that's affected my life or has been a part of it. I've got, this is a pretty important one, if you know, the semicolon and what that symbolizes.
For those that don't know.
For those that don't know, it is very symbolic of suicide awareness and suicide prevention. Since the semicolon is a writer's tool where they could have stopped a thought in the senses, but they continue going.
So why is that of such import to you that you've immortalized it on your on your personal canvas? If I can ask.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I'm an open book, man. So I had two really, really close friends of mine both take their own lives. Once in 2017, my good buddy Mikey drug overdosed on purpose. And then another good friend of mine in 2018, the year after, shot himself in his head upwards.
Man, that's hard.
Yeah, no, it was pretty traumatizing. I actually saw.
Go ahead. How did you get through all that? Because I know, we talk about suicide awareness and helping those that are going through that.
Yep.
But we don't often talk about how do we help the people that it affects? How do we help the other people that are impacted? That I think are equally as important because these are lives that are shattered. So how did you deal with this?
Luckily, I have a great support system. Super close with my mom. I'm a cliched Italian mama's boy. I grew up. I love my dad, but we weren't always super close. So she was there for me in both instances. Okay. More so in the latter, when my friend shot himself, I'd actually seen him about a week before that, and it was when I was actually getting my first tattoo, which is over here. And so I remember I was driving to work and I get a phone call from my younger brother who still lives down there in Massachusetts while I'm up here in New Hampshire area that Alex had been shot and he was in the hospital. And so my brother comes up, he sees me, we're like, what's going on? what's happening. We get word that he's on life support at the ICU in UMass. And so we're like, what do we do? We didn't know at this point whether he was going to pull through or if he was gone. So we start driving down. We get a phone call from his twin brother.
Oh wow.
That they were planning on pulling the plug within an hour if they didn't see anything. At least that's what we heard.
Gotcha.
Come to find out, that wasn't the case. So I start speeding down there in my little Saturn piece of shit car on.
Hey man, those things were made of plastic and could take anything. They pop right back.
Miss that car every day. And so I'm cruising, and I start feeling lightheaded and panic starts to set in. Like I feel shaky. I don't feel good. I get to the hospital. They admitted me into ER because I was like physically shaking and just so full of anxiety. A couple hours go by, I calm down, I go back up into the room. So for those who haven't had the displeasure of going through this, you, at least in this particular case, there's very limited visiting into the ICU. And we're sitting outside in the waiting room. There's a bunch of family friends that we all know, and it gets to be our turn. And Mark didn't go in with me. He couldn't see him. He just didn't have the strength, which I don't blame him. So I get in, and his mom's over there. She's a mess, and she just, we just hugged for a couple minutes, and I see him laid up, tubes coming out of him, his head swollen from the swelling, and I just held his hand and said, I said what I had to say, and a couple, like a day or two later, it was over the weekend. They kept him on life support because he was a donor. So he actually ended up 6 of his organs were approved to save 6 different lives.
Well,
so
silver linings.
Turned into, someone actually has his heart, which is a really, really low percentage chance for someone to be, to have a heart that transferable. So that's why. That is why. All that to say, that's why I wear the semicolon, because that's
really cool.
Tough to go through. So I don't have a memorial tattoo specifically for Alex, but I do have one for my older brother, who passed away a few years ago, and one for my buddy Mikey, who was the one who killed himself in 2017. He loved blackjack. He taught me how to count cards. So that one's from him.
That's pretty awesome. Okay. So I have to ask, because people are going to want to know, and there's really no easy way to transition out of that topic. So thank you for sharing. That was,
of course.
That was awesome and gets deep and hard. And I know. Favorite tattoo that you've got?
Favorite tattoo.
What is your favorite tattoo that you got? Yeah.
That's a tough one.
You can have one on either side of your body. I think that's allowable.
So I've got, last time I got, actually, the most recent was actually the Warlock Academy tattoo. I do have it tattooed.
Guys,
there.
This is how serious this guy is when it comes to his brand in gaming. Is he gets his logo tattooed on his arm? How awesome is that?
That was a viewer challenge. We had to reach a certain goal I wanted, and people were like, "Yeah, do it." That's actually why my hair is blue as well. It wasn't always. I wasn't born like this.
No, you're nowhere born with Smurfs.
People always say Smurfs. Smurfs are blue. They didn't have blue hair. But I'm always, I know.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Favorite one though, I think design-wise and like story-wise, my favorite's actually the one on my leg of the Arbiter from Halo.
Okay.
It's really clean, super cool design. Cool little like snippet story of how I got it was I was just chilling at a tattoo parlor I live close to, where most of my work's been done.
Do you normally just chill at tattoo parlors? I mean, that's
not anymore. No. I moved away from this local spot, but no. I recommend it though. If you really want to get good work done, you first find an artist that's safe.
Yeah.
Number 1, safe and clean. Number 2, that you can get along with, vibe with. You like their style aesthetically, of course, what they typically do for work, and that's close by, because I moved away from this lovely lady named Miss Kate. Her name's Kate, but she chose that brand. It was actually kind of given it to her by someone she apprenticed with years ago. She was like, "You need a brand, honey. You Miss Kate," and she just ran
There you
with it.
go. There
But
you go.
I was chilling in the shop, eating lunch, chatting, whatever. She had a guest tattoo artist that was there for the weekend,
Oh,
Russ, and we were just talking. And he's like, "Yo, dude, like, what are you doing on that side?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm doing all these video games." He's like, "That's cool, man. Like, what video games are you still looking to get done?" And I start rifling through the list of what I wanted, and I said Halo, and he stops me for a minute. He's like, "Dude, Halo, like Halo?" I'm like, "Yeah, man." And so he just whips out the iPad and was like, "Dude, what about this right here?" And he's already got it done up. Like he's been waiting to do it. And I was like, "Yeah, throw an energy sword in there with it, and we're good."
nice.
And so that's one of my favorite little stories. It's just I randomly got this tattoo.
So if people go to your Warlock Academy Discord, can they see these tattoos anywhere?
I don't have a gallery actually set up. I've shown them a few. I've shown off most of them on stream a few times, but a gallery would be interesting.
You should think of a gallery.
The professors.
You can make it a
gallery.
You can make it a stream goal. Right?
Yeah. Okay.
There you go.
Every piece. Luckily, I don't have anything in odd places.
Oh, okay. So you mentioned Halo. So that's a pretty extensive game with quite the history. Is that something that you and your brother played in your one bedroom there? When you were little?
No, not really when we were little. My mom, again, love my mom, but was
don't say
strict.
anything wrong about an Italian mom. She'll come over here and whoop you.
No, she will. She was a little old school every now and then, which is different era, different time. No, we didn't play a lot because we were very restricted in what we could play age appropriately. But it's funny you mention it. It's a kind of a transition talking about my older brother, because he wasn't my mom's child. He's my dad's child with some lady before he met my mom. And so he kind of had free reign. He was only about 4 years old. Yeah, some lady. Her name's Kelly. She's great. She lives out in California.
Oh, wow. You know a lot.
Lady.
Okay. Interesting.
Oh, yeah. About her. Yeah. She came over with her other kids for a memorial service a couple years back for my older brother. But he lived upstairs for a while. And so when I was I can remember I was about 7 or 8, I would sneak upstairs and like force him to let me play Halo with him, because he had just got it when he came. Like, this is 2001, 2002. Game's brand new. Xbox is new. And I would like want to be on his team and play through the campaign, and he just wanted to kick my ass in multiplayer. He'd get sick of me.
Was Xbox your first console that you played on?
No, not by far. I'm pretty sure there's pictures of me at like 4 or 5 with a Game Boy Color.
Oh, okay.
If you consider, if you want to talk like plug in and play console, it was definitely PlayStation 1.
Gotcha.
For sure, that's where my journey started.
Well, that's neat. So you played some Halo with your older brother.
Yep.
And that kind of started a trend of first-person shooters for you. Did you get into RPGs in that sense, or?
It's I have this weird history. So, yep, Halo there a little bit. The big thing for me was handhelds, because we didn't have a lot of TVs growing up early on, the early preteen, young years. So I always had like a Game Boy or Game Boy Advance ready to play. And plus I could sneak it at nighttime, especially when they started adding the backlight. I could have my DS and my mom would open the door and I'd throw it under the pillow. Real sly. She knew. She just didn't care.
Moms always know.
Yeah, they do. They do. If you think you're fooling your mom, you're not. So
I think the worst thing about that is when you become parents yourselves.
Oh,
and
yeah.
You realize all these things that your kids are doing, and then one day it just hits you and you're just like, oh, they totally knew.
Retribution. I'm waiting for that moment. I told my wife I'm waiting for that moment as a grandparent. She's like, our first one's on the way. I'm like, yes, but you gotta understand, when I'm a grandparent, and thank you, we're going to be coming soon, about probably 2 weeks or possibly less.
So if there's a
So it's
pause in the Warlock Academy, it's because
yeah.
you're getting a new member. So check
Yep,
it out.
we're at it. Player 3 is joining. Load time varies. So, but my video game history is so varied because, well, I have ADHD. Full disclosure, I've had it my whole life, as far as I know, and I've just gone through different things. But a staple for me, like a true staple that's
Mhm.
never gone away, that I still play to this day, is Pokemon. Pokemon. It was my second ever tattoo. It's right there.
Oh,
Cool
nice.
little Pokeball design, and I've gone from I had to sneak it because my mother was part of a religious Christian group,
Okay.
and back then in the late '90s, early 2000s, Pokemon was evil because there was evolution involved and all this other stuff. So she took it away. She took all my cards, all my games when I was about 8. And so I would borrow it from friends, or I would, I would
Where there's
find
a
a way to
will,
get my
there's a
hand on
way.
it. Yeah, yeah, no, 100%, 100%.
Do you feel that
Yeah.
strict nature kind of like, do you regret having that? Are you frustrated with the fact that was like some of your gaming childhood was stunted in a way, or are you
Mm.
fine with it?
At the time, it definitely felt like, screw you, mom. Why am I not playing
Yeah.
this? I definitely would have more expensive Pokemon cards. That's for sure. I had come on. I had those holographic Charizards everybody wanted, man. I'd have some money right now.
You'd be like, Mom, you remember those cards? We could have like
yeah,
a lot of money.
I could
Come
put
on.
I could put a down payment on a house with some of them, which is ridiculous. But no, looking back on it as I got older, I was like, you know what? I understand why. I understand why. Nobody's a perfect parent. And looking back, like I've talked extensively with my wife, like, how are we going to raise this kid? Like, how are we going to discipline? How are we going to have them grow up in the digital age that we live in now? Like, are we gonna overexpose? Are we gonna underexpose? Or is he gonna be too young to understand? So I have kind of a game plan. Is I'm gonna have him grow up the way I kind of did,
Okay.
as far as consoles go. So he's allowed to play whatever he wants, but first has to be for a few years the Game Boy, right? So we're gonna get one of those. Gonna get the
Wow. Okay.
64. You got it.
You're gonna make
Kids
them
today,
learn the
and
old school.
that's what I want, man. No offense to any of the younger audience, but you guys
Yeah.
gotta respect the classics, and you gotta grow up with them to respect them and to understand where it's come and where it's going. And yeah,
My
it's
son
so
is
that's the
currently
plan.
learning Worm. He got
Worm,
a
like
toy,
OG.
like OG Worm. He got a toy camera for Christmas. And he'll just sit there and he'll be working on it. He has no idea what he's doing yet. I mean, he's 5. But man, he can work those buttons, and he does some pretty crazy stuff with it. I'm just like, I don't think you're supposed to be able to do that with that game. But kids are amazing. They figure it out. And I will say that no plan ever survives execution. So just be ready
Yep.
ready to skate on that one. So you're married. How long have you been married?
So my wife and I, Shelby, we have been married a little over 2 years now. We got married back
Wonderful.
in May, actually on her birthday, 2 years
Oh,
ago. Yep.
that's
Yep.
quite the birthday
Double
present.
whammy.
Is she a gamer as well?
Yeah, not quite as hardcore as I would say, but we actually met on Tinder, and in her profile she wrote that
Okay.
she was adorkable. So, yeah, she's got a really badass Squirtle tattoo, and Squirtle's holding like pepperoni pizza, right on her ankle.
So a little bit of rebellion for you there from family. It's like, okay, not only am I going to game, not only am I going to stream games, but I'm going to marry a gamer as well. So
yeah.
I'm assuming
Full
you don't
circle.
stream full time. You do something else in your normal 9 to 5, as it were.
Yeah, it's pretty much nailed it on the 9 to 5 part. Previously, I worked as a bartender for a couple years, which became a passion of mine. I'm actually well versed in cocktail history, prohibition history, whiskeys, gins, vodkas, liquors.
Oh.
Not so much in wine, a little bit. I dabble, and the beer game. is kind of overpopulated and uninteresting to me in most cases. But yeah, like I got super into craft cocktails. I worked at a speakeasy for a while. I ran
Nice.
a whiskey bar
And this is
in a
something that
local
you
city.
still really enjoy and you'd consider yourself
Yeah,
passionate about it.
right. I enjoy it now as a hobby because for those of you who don't know, hours for bartending, as far as work goes, is usually 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon until the ass crack of dawn,
Yep.
and you get home and there's my wife nice enough to leave me a nice plate in the fridge to heat up.
There you go.
Free food is a bonus though.
Yeah,
Bonus.
it really is. Really, really is. So you got into streaming how long ago?
So actually, just about 2 years. 2 years right after we got married.
And what on earth pulled you towards streaming games of all things?
It's something I had thought about. I mean, I think a lot of people do, right? Because there's this allure of, oh, I can make money doing this. Oh, I could maybe quit my job and gain a following and just play video games. And I knew in the back of my head it wasn't really all that, because there's a lot of work involved with this, and you get into it and you realize how much you're just sitting there, you're editing content, you're brainstorming content, and you just have to be this persona a lot of the time.
You have to be turned on all the time.
All the time. And not that's phrasing.
For those that don't know, that watch, if you've never tried to really get into streaming and do it on a regular basis, try it for 2 weeks. Pick like 3 days that you're going to stream for just 2 weeks solid, and give yourself at least 2 hours on the stream, and see how mentally exhausted you are by the end of the 2 weeks. It's invigorating. It's fun. It's kind of addicting, right?
Oh yeah. No,
So,
you get into a groove, but you have to set a schedule.
yes.
And that took me a while to get into. So another good streamer and a longtime friend of mine, Jumbo Lump. We actually originally knew each other when I spent some time living in North Carolina, right along the coast down there. We became friends through Magic the Gathering, and of course our love of video games and anime. And so when I moved back up, we still stayed in touch. And so he started streaming, and he's like, "Come on, Matt, like you're with your personality and your vigor, why are you not streaming?" I said, "I don't know. I don't really have the equipment. Seems like a time sink. I don't know." So I just started doing it. He kind of just egged me on, and I did it on PlayStation 4. Which just had the Twitch app,
There you go.
streamed like original Overwatch. And then eventually, the year later, I got a laptop that my wife was kind enough to buy for my birthday. And
Good wife,
so I
keep her.
streamed on it. She's amazing. Really, I don't deserve this. And
None of us ever
so then
do.
I streamed on that. No. If you're out there and you think you deserve your person, check again. Check again. Check your weight class.
I consistently ask my wife, it's like, what are you doing with me? And she just smiles and she goes, I love you, remember? And it's like, okay. I don't understand sometimes, but
no, love's crazy.
Yeah. So you stream
blasphemy.
You stream pretty much almost every night?
Yeah, I stick to a pretty rigid schedule. Of course, life happens, and we have the little one on the way, so things are sure to shake up. Great enough though, I do get so I work for TD Bank. I'm a banker now. I went from like bartending at night to like what people would consider a pretty boring job, but I stayed in the customer service side of things because I love helping people, and I'm just a people person. Like I've tried working in factories. I can't do it. My brain just explodes or implodes. It's just awful. Nope, it's not for me.
So does your wife stream?
She picked it up a little bit while I was getting into it. She does have OBS on. So the laptop she got me a year later, I got the PC that I have now, and now the laptop's hers again. So I mean, she's done it a few times. Yeah. Oh, it's pretty decent laptop. Got like that mobile GTX 1660 Ti or something.
So not bad.
Or Max Q.
Not bad.
Yeah, no, it could play well enough.
At what point in your streaming adventure here did you come up with and decide to go Warlock Academy?
I knew that was coming. You know, so my original streaming name, up until I want to say, when did I rebrand? I think it was about a year and a half, maybe
Okay.
a little over a year ago. I was originally Warlock and Key, little tongue in cheek there,
Yeah.
and that was fine. My friend had done up a few different designs and stuff. I actually have one of the OG shirts I ordered for my merch store back when I had like 50 something followers, like just barely getting started. And I didn't really do it um, as consistently as I do now. I implemented the schedule I have now probably in fall of last year,
Gotcha.
and have pretty well stuck to it since. So then I wanted I think that's why I rebranded. I wanted to get serious. I said, you know what, before I get serious and I eventually blow up, because I mean that's just gonna happen someday, right?
Hey, that's the dream, right?
Coming.
That's the dream.
And so I said, okay, well, what do I rebrand with? I really like the Warlock thing. I think that was a cool name. Like, all right. So I tried a couple different things on Twitch. My 6 months had come up, or whatever to rename. And so I was like, Dr. Warlock. No. This, that. I tried a couple different combinations, and I settled on Prof Warlock. As a lover of Pokemon, there's always a prof, right?
Yeah.
Prof Oaks, Prof Elm.
Oh, okay.
And
so we got some
it
Pokemon roots there.
Yeah, a little bit in there, a little bit of an homage to that, as well as the fact that as an older brother, and as someone who really wanted to be a role model and inspiration for the younger generation, I was like, well, what better mentor than a teacher?
So
And it all started coming together.
So that's a great, because I was going to ask you, why is it that you stream?
Why is it that I stream? I stream because of the kids out there that may have grown up similar to me, or in this situation, or have come from a similar situation that I did, where maybe you're the black sheep of the family, or maybe you feel like an outcast, or you don't feel like you fit in right, but you love video games, and you have this love of these worlds that these developers create, and the community grows, and you become part of something where you feel like you belong, and there's a lot more like-minded people that you can be with. And also I want to just teach kids to be not salty and be good people and grow up in a better community, because the video game community,
So much salt.
there's a lot of sodium, which can be funny, like if you take
Yeah.
it lightheartedly and you're not genuinely angry or being toxic. That's one thing. I understand that. I've had my salty moments, and like a good fair share of them.
Haven't we all?
Yes. Rocket League, especially for me, just that one tilts me sometimes. But
and I think that's why one of the reasons that I liked you when we were first chatting was I think your heart is in. At least for me and my viewpoint on things, I think your heart is in the right place. You're caring about people. You want to set that example, and I think that's extremely admirable and respectable. So, everybody, Professor Warlock joining the Smart Gamer Network team. You can check him out at prof_Warlock. It's right below his picture there. There will be links down in the description. He's got lots of cool merch. He could probably even set you up with a design if you want your own Warlock Academy tattoo on your arm. That's an option, right? Yeah.
I can get some referrals going. Okay, some referrals.
So check him out. He's got his Discord information there. We'll stick it down in this video, and look for him as a part of the Smart Gamer Network. And also look for him on the Smart Gamer Network Twitch channel, where we'll be doing a longer form interview where you get to ask him questions and you get to poke and make fun of what we're going to call Smurf hair, just because it's the easiest thing to identify as. So thanks for all coming out. Warlock, thanks for being here. Thanks for taking the time and touching on the topics you did. That was pretty awesome and deep at the same time. And thank you.
Anytime. Remember, guys, stay in school.